Hi, we're going to go ahead and make the album cover this morning for the Grateful album that I'm doing for that fun little free online blog class. This is just totally something informal. I thought I would offer for Thanksgiving, just something fun. I want you to try to use anything that you have in your scrap room. Today I'm going to just use some papers that I had hanging around here for the last few months in my own art room. I've got a little bit of SEI paper. It's double-sided. I'm going to use that for the inside cover. This is going to be my outside cover. You can choose whatever one you want. What you need is 4 sheets of 4x6 paper. You're also going to need 2 sheets of chipboard. If you don't have chipboard, you can go ahead and take 2 pieces of cardstock, glue them back to back, and then by the time you adhere your 4x6 paper, it's going to be nice and sturdy for you. You also are going to want a piece of acrylic, a little 4x6 piece of acrylic. Doesn't have to be real thick. If you don't have acrylic around, you can improvise, just use a transparency. So first of all, I want to go ahead and adhere my cover, my paper to my cover. And I would like to go over a technique that I notice a lot of students tend to do, is that they just put some adhesive in 4 corners and they don't even get up close to the corners. They do it far away from the edge. I want to see you actually run that roller super tight along all 4 edges. This is going to make a beautiful tight edge to your paper, and a little, I always throw in the center for good measure there. When you turn your album cover, when you turn your pages, when you open it, a lot of times if you don't get this nice and tight all the way around the edges, you are going to have those edges flip up. You don't want that. You want this to not move when you know on any edge. Now you'll need to trim. See a little excess there. So what you want to do is just take your X-Acto knife and just trim that right off. Or you can sand it. I like to use an X-Acto knife. I just have these little cheap ones that I pick up at Hobby Lobby. And that makes a nice edge. And then again, to go ahead and do the inside, I ran out of adhesive. There we go. See, I told you this was pretty informal. All right, and I can choose either side here that I want. I think I like the stripe. I think that's going to go really nice with the orange cover, the tag for the cover. Just line it up nice. Again, just flip it over, trim off any excess, and then go ahead and use your sander just to take off any of the extra edge. And then I go ahead and sand all the way around the edges just to get a nice little finish to it. That's still bothering me there. I think I need to trim that a little bit more. I think my chipboard's sticking out a little bit there. That's better. So you're just going to want to ink all around the edge, or sand all around the edges. And then I'm going to ink with the creamy brown ink. This is a big staple in my scrapping. I use this creamy brown ink on just about absolutely everything. Photos, paper, chipboard. Just really takes that raw edge. It takes that newness away from it. All right, so you're going to do that on both pieces. To save time, I went ahead and did the other one ahead of time. So here's the other. So this is your front and your back cover of your album. And then the acrylic is going to go over top of that. And we're going to make the tag for that. That's going to be your title. It's going to go on. Here's an example of the finished project. This is what you're going to do with the acrylic. We're going to stamp. And we're going to actually stamp on both sides of the tag before we adhere it to the acrylic. And then it shows nicely through. So we're going to go ahead and do that next. Now as you notice here, I have the things I am. So the title is 12 Things I Am Grateful For. The things I am, I actually printed on off my inkjet printer. And the way you can do that is just to set it up on your Word document, print it off on a piece of paper. I just did it far enough down on my paper that I could have room for wherever my tag would fit. And then what you want is to hold it up to like a window so you can see through it. Line it up so that you get it where you want, and then go ahead and adhere your tag directly to the paper and then run it back through your printer. Now to save time, I went ahead and did that ahead of time. So I have one all done here. So I have the things that I am already on there. Now we're going to go ahead and stamp the word grateful, and I'm using the Palette Umber ink today. And then for the grateful stamp, that is off the Inkadinkado set. I think it's called Thankful. And we're just going to go ahead and set that up on a 4x4 block. And if your stamp is not wanting to stick to your block, just wipe it off. You get a lot of residual from your ink. Mine get pretty dirty and I tend to not clean them as often as I should. I'm actually going to put my paper back down now that I'm done cutting so I don't get ink all over my mat. Alright, so just go ahead and load your ink right onto your stamp. Just make sure you got a nice even coat everywhere on that. And then just go ahead and stamp that right below the things I am. Very nice. And then just clean your stamp off, which I'm bad about remembering to do. And then to get the little word for, I used the same stamp set, but the stamp was all together. And what I did was I actually just cut my word for. I just spliced it right in between, so I did not have to even keep fussing with the word friends there to take that off, to mask it so it didn't show up. So that makes it easy and simple to stamp with. I just stick it anywhere on my block, again using the burnt umber. And then just go ahead and stamp that. And then to get the little dot, 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 this is a little piece that I actually cut off of the Art Warehouse bullet set from the journaling set. So now you know my dirty little secret is that I like to cut my stamps up and use them separate. There you go. So that looks real nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges. And then you're going to go ahead and just flip your tag over. And we're going to go ahead and stamp this on the back side of it. So I'm going to use the Creative Cafe Life Set. Load your ink up. Anywhere looks good. And clean your stamp back off and then put it right back on your sheet. That keeps it all in one place so you know where it's at. Next, I'm going to stamp the Everyday. Looking for my other block. Here we go. And I'm going to want to do that in a cognac color.